Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, hope all of you having a great Sunday. Hope all of you having a great weekend. If not, hope this video can make it a little bit better. And man, oh man, hold on. Set down my coffee. Clap it up, clap it up. It is time for the Week 9 recap. I'm excited. Hope you guys are excited as well. We don't got time to waste. We're getting straight into it. I got to throw this out there. I love college football. I enjoyed sitting on my butt watching college football from 11 a.m. until 1 a.m. the following morning like I always do every single weekend. However, this was one of the worst weekends of the year. I think we can all agree on that. And I don't know what it was. Maybe it was the lack of upsets, but something was missing. You know what it was? The more I think about it, it was the lack of close night games. I always like to see close night games, and we didn't have that. A&M blew LSU out of the water. We're going to talk all about that. You know, we got to talk about Alabama. Clap it up to a Crimson Tide. And also Texas. How did they pull that one out? A lot of teams were struggling this weekend, and while everyone else was struggling, Indiana just beat the absolute snot out of the fight. Nico, I'ma leave yous. I got to throw this in there to start the video, too, before we even get into it. We did a short little live stream during the Alabama-South Carolina game. We do impromptu ones every now and then on Saturday. And Solidarity super chatted 50 doubloons. Big ups to Solidarity. Thank you again, brother. And without further ado, let's get into it. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. Here are your members of the week. And yes, that's right. You heard me correctly. We normally do one member of the week. I'm feeling good. We're doing 5. Shout out to Fago, Prefactor, Mushroom Live, Guardian, hope I'm saying that correctly, or Gardane, and Jalen 101. We also got a brand new update for the members as well. We have added 4 new emotes that you can now use in the comment section. You see them right here. We got the Ty Simpson shush meme, the good game, Kelly Mad, and also the confused look. Try them out in the comment section. As always, shout out to the members of the channel. Let's get into it. First things first, at 11 a.m., we got Ole Miss and the Lane Train versus Oklahoma BV. As we know by this point in time, Ole Miss wound up winning this game, and I'd have to say that it is arguably one of the most impressive wins this weekend outside of Texas A&M. You're coming off of that road loss against Georgia where you're not devastated, but you felt like, man, we played good enough to win that game. If only we could have got a couple more stops. And guess what? In this Oklahoma game, they did get a couple of those stops. Shout out to the Ole Miss defense. Was it the best defensive performance or showing you're ever going to see? Absolutely not. But they did their part. They played their role. They got a couple of huge clutch stops at the end of the game. You know, I got to throw this in there. John Mateer, what happened, buddy? His fall from grace has got to be studied. The first couple of weeks of the season, he looked like the Heisman frontrunner. Now, he looks like he shouldn't even be starting sometimes. What is he thinking on some of his throws? It's always a double-edged sword because you want to give credit to Ole Miss, but at the same time, the main reason their defense succeeded is because Mateer, he wasn't good at the end of the game. You know who was good? Yet again, Trendad Chambliss. He is hard to contain, man. He had a QBR of 91. That's almost perfect. Chambliss couldn't have played too much better. He's not the most accurate passer you're ever going to see. However, he makes up for that in the running game. He had a huge, not even just a huge, he had about 2 or 3 huge scrambles where he picked up first downs. Ole Miss really controlled this game, and I was happy to see the defense wind up winning it for him at the end. What does it say about Oklahoma? Well, for starters, you're not as great as everybody, including myself, thought you were. But you're not a bad football team, and you still control your own destiny. You win out, you're getting in this playoff. You take a look at your 2 losses. The Texas one, yeah, that's a bad one because Texas, they don't look too good. A little foreshadowing. We'll get to them in just a second. Ole Miss, though, they're a legit top 7, top 8 team, so nothing to feel bad about here. The better team won the game. You're not as good as Ole Miss. It is as plain and as simple as that. Moving along here to the UCLA Bruins and Indiana the Hoosiers. I stated this, and I talked about it in the preview a little bit. I was actually looking forward to this game, and there were a bunch of you. I'm going to give y'all credit. Let me clap it up for Timothy and Bobby. Have we ever clapped it up for Timothy and Bobby in the comment section in the history of this channel? I have no idea. Y'all are telling me, Matt, you're stupid. You're looking forward to the UCLA-Indiana game. The line is Indiana minus, I think it was 27, 25, 26, something like that. And I was like, no, man. UCLA, they're on a 3-game winning streak ever since they fired their head coach. It could be interesting. Well, guess what? It wasn't interesting. They got beat by a 50. Voice crack. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. We're leaving it in there. It's raw and authentic. A 50 burger. A 50 burger. Are you kidding me, Smalls? Had to throw the Sandlot reference in there. You're killing me, Smalls. You're killing me. 50 burger? Come on, man. Obviously, I did pick Indiana to win this game, but just the way they beat them, it goes to prove, yep, they're the real deal. They are legit. But we knew that heading into this matchup. I will say that is definitely one of the more eye-opening things of this weekend. Beating UCLA by 50. And I get it. UCLA is not a good team. They're now, what are they, 3-5? But they were reeling. They were hot heading into this matchup. I don't want to underhype this win. That was outstanding out of Indiana and great on their part for them to handle UCLA like they did. It was complete evisceration on all sides of the ball, offensively, defensively. I mean, when you beat a team by 50, you know how it goes. Shout out to Kurt Sinetti. Indiana is now 8-0. They're probably going to finish undefeated because they don't play a ranked team the remainder of the season. They don't even play a good team. They got Maryland next. They're trash. Penn State's trash. Wisconsin, they're one of the worst teams in the country. And then you got Purdue, they're also trash. What about this one, though? I'm not going to speak on it too much because it was coming to monsoon. It was one of those sloppy games, but Oregon struggled with Wisconsin. That shocks me, even with the rain being a factor and whatnot, because Wisconsin is one of the worst teams in America. They are. It's not an exaggeration. Alabama beat them by 400. Ohio State beat them by 400. But then you got Oregon, what some people think is still a really good team, just struggling with them. If you can't line up and just run the ball down Wisconsin's throats and beat these guys by 30, I think you got problems. Really disappointed Oregon in that showing. A win's a win. Like I say, never apologize for a win, but when you look at some of the common opponents like Wisconsin has played in Alabama and Ohio State, it is clear and evident Oregon, they don't stack up. Missouri and Vanderbilt, the college game day game of the week. First things first, prayers and thoughts are going out to Bo Pribula. Hate to see that, man. Terrible injury. Praying for a speedy recovery, but it looks like he won't be returning this season. As to what Missouri is going to do next at the quarterback position, don't know. But we're here to talk about this game. Missouri almost tied it at the end. What was that? An inch, a centimeter away from going into overtime. That was one of the coolest Hail Marys you're ever going to see. I can't believe he caught the pass, wound up coming a bit short. This was a sloppy game. It wasn't pretty. Nobody looked good. Nobody deserved to win, if you want me to be honest. It was one of those games where it's like, somebody's got to walk out of here with a win. And Vanderbilt, they did so. Pavia, he prevailed. It's more than safe to say Pavia didn't have his best showing. Completion percentage right over 50, around 53, 54. 130 passing yards, 0 tutties, 1 interception. Made some plays scrambling, had the late rushing touchdown that ultimately won them the game. Missouri, as we know, the backup quarterback came in, and he actually did okay. But Vanderbilt holding Missouri to 10 points, even with the backup, goes to prove what I said all year long. What separates this year's team compared to last year's team is they can play a little bit of defense. I'm going to remind some of y'all, they held Ty Simpson in Alabama to 23 points. Alabama finished with 30, but they got an extremely late rushing touchdown when the game was over. I don't think Missouri's a really good team. They're just good. They have a good defense, but their offense, they've been struggling all season long. Even with Bo Pribula, they struggle against Bama, struggle against Auburn, so their problem is they can't score enough points to win games. The truth of the matter is you give up 17 points in 2025, I expect to win. Man, you didn't do that. Although it wasn't a pretty game to watch, I'd say Missouri-Vanderbilt, they are even teams. They are 1A, 1B. Vanderbilt pulls it out, though. They executed a little bit better at the end, and that's why they won. Congrats to Vanderbilt. They control their own destiny, and so does Missouri. You win out, you're in. Let's talk about this one while I got it pulled up. The BYU's! Oh, my gosh. I can't miss with the BYU's, man. I can't miss. Back-to-back weeks where BYU was not favored, and I told you in the preview, stop disrespecting BYU. You're going to learn to respect them. And yet again, for the second straight week, not being favored, I got to emphasize that, they walk out of there with the big fat W. Clap it up to BYU, 41 on Iowa State's noggin. They had that clutch pick at the end that really changed the whole trajectory of the game. BYU in this game is a little bit different, so they want to run the ball more than they pass it. But their quarterback had 300 passing yards in this game, and they struggled to run the ball. They only had 100 rushing yards. This is really impressive to me because they proved, okay, you want to shut down the run, that's cool. We can beat you through the air. And they did so. They are undefeated. Y'all are going to learn to respect BYU. I ain't going to hold you, though. Iowa State's quarterback low-key handed them the game with the not just 1 interception, but 3 interceptions. What are you doing, buddy? What are you doing? I love to see it, though. I love to see it. BYU is slowly but surely becoming one of my favorite teams in the nation because I love the way they play the game. It's old school. Let me ask you a question. How can you not love a team and where the quarterback wears number 47? Come on. You can't hate these guys, not even if you wanted to. I love it, man. I love it. BYU. Actually, I'd consider myself a BYU at this point because I've been on the bandwagon. It's just a matter of time before you guys watching this video hop on with me. All right, let's get to, one of our 2:30 games we got. Alabama versus South Kakalaki. I said it in the Friday morning Coffee with Matt segment we do on the channel. It's going to be a frustrating game. It's going to be annoying. On the road, South Carolina, they haven't played good all year long. Alabama's going to get the best shot. We know that. Also, you got to take into account Sellers hasn't really had a good game, so he was due for one. He's a slightly, I'd say, worser version of Cam Newton. We'll just call him Dollar General. Cam Newton. He's hard to take down. And it's not just Alabama couldn't take him down. Nobody's been able to tackle this guy all year long. He is so strong. His legs. I wonder what he squats. This got to be 500 plus pounds. Dude is a freak of nature. He's a natural born athlete. I remember talking a little bit how if you got a guy one-on-one with him, you're not going to bring him down. He's going to make the first guy miss. Either run over him. That's what makes him so special because normally like a dual threat quarterback, Marcel Reed, he's going to juke you out, spin you out, something like that. But what separates Sellers is he can literally run over a defender, run through him, stiff arm him. He's like a Derrick Henry almost. In other terms, here's where I'm going at with this. It's going to take more than one guy to bring him down, and you saw that in the Alabama game. Alabama didn't have their best stuff, but it's also goes back to the double-edged sword thing. Give credit to Kakalaki, man. They showed up. They balled out, especially on defense. The defense kept them in this game. Kakalaki handed Alabama. I know some people are going to say, well, man, they handed Alabama the game. We'll get to that in just a second, but they handed Alabama 7 points to start it off. Sellers made a good throw to the running back in the flat. He bobbles it, lands in the Alabama guy's chest, and he runs it in. Just like that, it's 7-3. Alabama's defense was exceptional in the first half, held Kakalaki to 6 points. Heading into halftime, it was 14-6 because Alabama got the, what was it, 4th and 2? Yeah. I can't remember. It was either 4th and 2, 4th and 3. It really doesn't matter. They got the touchdown right before halftime. And to start the second half, it was the stereotypical Alabama start. We get the ball, and just chaos ensues. It's a 4th down. I believe it was 4th and 1. Ty Simpson, he throws it to Ryan Williams. I tweeted it out. Sorry, let me calm down. I don't want to scream and go on a rant and tangent. It's not an Alabama game if Ryan Williams doesn't drop a wide open pass, now is it? That would have been a first down. Hey, we would have been in field goal range. So worst case in scenario, we're kicking a field goal. Slow down, Matt. We are kicking a field goal to go up 17-6. But what happens? He drops it, turnovers on downs. And the very next play, South Carolina, they hit a shot play. They drop a shot because they know they got the momentum. They hit Nick Harbor. He outruns us all. And just like that, instead of Alabama going up, potentially, worst case in scenario, who knows, we might score a touchdown. 17-6, we're up 11. It is now 14-12, a 2-point ball game. Huge shift in momentum. South Carolina forces another 3-and-out. Alabama had 5 3-and-outs on the day. They get the ball back. They get a field goal. Next thing you know, you look up. South Carolina is in control of this game. It is 15-14. Alabama's offense still can't move the ball. There was another 3-and-out after that. But the Bama defense showed up. They kept Alabama in this game. They were making big-time plays. And they forced South Kakalaki to punt. Alabama's about to get the ball near the 40-yard line. But what happens? It is kind of a controversial play because technically it should have been kick-catch interference because I believe it was Nick Harbor. He pushed Jalen McBakwe into Cole Adams, Alabama's punt returner. I'm not going to complain about it too much. It is what it is. It was one of those fast-paced plays. It hits the Alabama player, long story short. Alabama muffs the punt. Carolina gets it at the 30. All the momentum in the world. And you know what's going to happen next after that. They punch it in for 7. Alabama is now trailing by 8. And when Alabama needed it the most, when their backs are against the wall, guess who showed up? Ty Mother Effing Simpson. Actually, my apologies. That's Tyrone Simpson to you. That's who showed up when we were down 22-14. We needed a touchdown and 2-point conversion. Tyrone Simpson. We marched down the field like it was nothing. Piece of cake. Ryan Grubb draws up one of the best 2-point conversion plays you're ever going to see. And now Alabama, you could feel it. They got all the momentum in the world. It is 22-22. South Carolina, they were nervous. They were on their heels. What do? They just draw up these terrible quarterback design runs up the middle, and Deontay Lawson strips it out. Alabama now has the ball at the 35-yard line, pretty much already in field goal range. And, yeah, South Carolina, they had 1 or 2 timeouts. But worst case in scenario for Bama, you're kicking a game-winning field goal. You miss, you go into overtime. And maybe we'll talk about this more throughout the week, but South Carolina has the bold strategy of, after Alabama got 1 first down, they were at the 25. They were like, well, this is kind of a chip shot. We're going to let them score. And they let Alabama score on 3rd and 10 with about 30 seconds to go in the game. I'm going to keep it a Fortnite V-Buck with you. As an Alabama fan myself, that was the dream case and scenario. And there was not a happier man in that stadium than Connor Talty. That is Alabama's field goal kicker, for those of you who don't know. He's actually struggled the entire season. He's good on the chip shots, but from 40-plus yards, which it would have been right at a 40-yarder or 45-yarder, he's 3 for 7 on the year. That's awful. I think it's the worst in the, not the country, but the SEC. If I'm Shane Beamer, there's no way I'm giving up that touchdown. I'm making an Alabama kicker beat me. Because we know Alabama kickers have been awful for the past 20 years outside of Will Reichard. But I guess, or it's not even I guess, he thought he had better odds of getting the ball back with 30 seconds, 0 timeouts, and going down the field and scoring 7 points on the Alabama defense. I don't know what he was thinking. That wasn't going to work out in your favor. It'd be a little bit different if Sellers was a great passer, like a Joe Burrow or even a Ty Simpson, something like that. But he's not that great of a passer. You also have 0 timeouts. He thought it was going to work out best, though it didn't, because Carolina, they get the ball back. What do? They fumble the kickoff. They wind up starting the drive on the 8-yard line. It was never going to work out. They didn't even get close to the 30. Here's the last thing I'm going to say about it, and we'll move on. If this were the NFL, I'd get it, because NFL kickers, they rarely miss. But I'm going to live and die by this philosophy. I'm making a college kicker beat me, especially an Alabama kicker. Big win for Alabama. You're going to have all your Timothys and Bobbies, your Brad and Chads and comments go, oh, look at Alabama struggling with 3-4 now, 3-5. South Carolina, they suck. Tell me you don't know ball without telling me you don't know ball. This happens every year for every single team in the SEC, in the Big Ten, every Power 4 conference. Winning, period, the end is hard. Winning against a conference team, period, the end is hard. But especially winning on the road in a Power 4 conference is hard. Everybody knows crazy things happen on the road. And to go on top of that, you want to talk about Carolina's 3-4. You know all their losses are to ranked teams. It's not like they are some chum bucket employee or something like that. Carolina is not a good football team by any stretch of imagination. I'm not trying to convince you of that. But they're not bad. And even if they are bad or were bad, it's a road game. It's college football. You know, I shouldn't have to explain it. If you're one of these people thinking less of Alabama after that performance, you just don't know football. I could go on and on about that game. Let's get into our other 2:30 game, or maybe it was a 3 p.m. kickoff. I can't remember. Texas, Mississippi State. I don't even want to talk about it. I don't. I'm so frustrated for the Mississippi State fan base. I am. I grew up with some Mississippi State fans. For those of you who don't know, I grew up in northern Alabama, so Mississippi State, it's right down the road from me, Starkville. It's only about, what was that, like 3-4 hours away? Maybe it's less than that. I can't remember. I ain't been there in so long. Shut down the football program. That's all I'm going to say. Shut down the football program. I feel bad for them. I really do. I'll get back to them in just a second. First things first, I want to clap it up to Texas. I know all you sitting there going, Matt, what? You need to be ripping these guys to shreds. Hey, like I said with Alabama, I got to keep that same energy. It's hard to win on the road in the SEC. I thought it was going to be a difficult game for Texas. Mississippi State is not bad. They're not bad. They've been in all these games. They just can't close the deal. It's embarrassing. The play that changed the game was it's 38-21. State's up by 17. It's 4-1. Texas goes for it. Arch Manning throws it pretty much out of bounds almost. The Texas guy got a hand on, but it was a terrible pass. But Mississippi State roughed the passer. Did I think it was roughing the passer? No. I thought it was ticky-tacky. But here's the thing. I'm not going to be crying for Mississippi State because as a defender, you know. Come on. You can't hit the quarterback like that, especially Arch Manning. He's the golden child. You can't hit him like that. It was one of those calls where I could see it being called. I could see it not being called. Obviously, I was going for the underdog. I want to see Mississippi State finally get an SEC win. It's been, ages since they won an SEC football game. I think they're on like a 17 or 16 game losing streak. But at the same time, I get it being called, and that flipped the game because after that, Texas went on a 24-0 run. Mississippi State couldn't get a first down. They had, I think it was back-to-back 3-and-outs. And it comes down to this. I talked about it in the reaction video. You have a friend like this. Winners win. I say it on the channel. I've been saying it for years. It's one of the philosophies I live by. Winners win, losers lose. I don't know how, but your buddy, your friend who you're thinking about immediately when I said this, it doesn't matter if he's playing a video game, if he's playing basketball, tennis, ping pong, cornhole, he wins. He's an athlete. All he does is win. It's something in the DNA. Winners win. Same thing with Elon Musk. I don't know the guy personally. All I know is business-wise, all he does is win. Everything he touches, it turns to gold. Do you really think it's a coinky-doink? No, he's a winner. Winners win. How many times do you want me to say that? They always find a way. On the flip side, losers lose. You know who a loser is? Mississippi State. Look at it. And Auburn. They always find new ways to lose football games because they're losers. It's not just something in college football. It's in life. It's in business. It's in everything you do. And I played for teams like this. So I relate to it. I know I've been in the locker rooms. There's some bad voodoo going on. I've been on multiple different teams that won championships. There's just something different in that locker room. There's something different with the mojo and swagger, you can always win games you're not supposed to. On the flip side of it, I've been on teams that have had losing seasons, and we would lose games in which we heavily and mightily outplayed teams, but we found a way to lose. That's the storyline of this game. I don't need to pull up stats. I don't need to pull up nothing. I know how it goes. Mississippi State outplayed Texas, but since you're a loser, you find a way to lose the game. Shout out to Texas for not giving up. I can respect that. I mean, that's back-to-back weeks in which you should have lost, but you pulled out a dubski. Much respect. What else do we got here? Illinois, Washington, don't care. Don't care. I'm done with the Illini. They made me look like a goofy goober this year. Shout out to Washington. They picked up a nice win. They improved to 6-2 on the season. Miami beat the snot out of Stanford. I thought for a second I was going to have to make a Miami reaction video because that game was 7-7 at half. Texas Tech put it on Oklahoma State. Oh, yeah. Bill Belichick tried to go for 2 at the end of the game. Interesting fun fact. So Alabama's play with Jeremy Bernard that got him the touchdown to tie it up, not the 2-point conversion, but the touchdown was the same play North Kakalaki drew up in the 2-point conversion. The difference is Alabama got man-to-man, and North Carolina, they got zone. I'm talking about Virginia played zone on the 2-point conversion. That play really only works against man, and that's a credit to Ty Simpson because he knew South Carolina was a man. Hate it for Ole Belichick. I was wanting to see the upset there, but he couldn't pull it off. Virginia goes to 7-1. Man, don't look now, but that's a playoff team, folks. What's really interesting is when they upset Florida State, we're all like, oh, yeah, that's a nice win for Virginia. Good for them. We're treating them like they're some, make-a-wish kid, or he's like the 13th man on the bench in basketball, and you put him in the fourth quarter, and, the student section is like, yeah, Rick, chanting his name. They're like, shoot the ball. We're treating Virginia like they're some chump, but no, they're an actual playoff contender. Shout out to the Cavaliers, man. Who would have thought? Tennessee, whew. 56 burger on Kentucky? That's really, really impressive considering Texas barely could even get a first down on them. The most interesting thing I can say about this Tennessee-Kentucky game is I watched Tennessee get 2 defensive touchdowns, and I think they either got close to getting a third or they did get a third. Kentucky actually moved the ball like it was nothing on Tennessee. They just couldn't stop shooting themselves in the foot. What about this one, though? Memphis, after losing to UAB is beyond awful. Upset South Florida. That is a great win for them. They improved to 7-1. Really nice there. Let's get into our night game. Texas A&M. They destroy LSU. All right, that's in the recap. I'll see y'all. No, I'm just playing. We're not going to make it that short, but obviously I could. There's not much to say about this game. It was complete domination from start to finish. The only reason LSU was leading at half and hanging in it is because Marcel Reed threw that interception, or he actually had 2 interceptions, my apology, in the first half. A&M had the ball, what was it, 14? Yeah, it was 14-9. They were about to score another touchdown. Marcel Reed, he gets baited and throwing a pick. So instead of it being 21-9 at half, it was, 18-14? It was some weird score like that. Now, after halftime, though, it was nothing more, nothing less than the Marcel Reed show and the Nussmeier getting sacked show. That's all it was. Marcel Reed looked like the college football version of Lamar Jackson. Plays just like him, the way he runs. Obviously, Lamar Jackson is a slightly better passer. I'd like to see Marcel Reed get a little bit better at that, but he's so good at running the ball. Why do you need a pass? And then Nussmeier, he can't stop from getting sacked. I think it's time to go to the backup, Van Buren. Here's a fun fact for it. Or not even a fun fact. I don't know why I said that. But it's what happened in the game. And I know you're going to have people saying, well, Matt, it was against backup. I don't care. They put Van Buren in at the end. And on his first drive, he scored a touchdown. 3 for 4, 50 yards, 1 touchdown. And you know what looked different to me? The offensive line for LSU is pretty bad, right? But Nussmeier's not a scrambler. That's why he gets sacked so much. He gets eaten alive. Van Buren, when the offensive line was breaking down, he was scrambling out of the pocket on that final drive and making plays. I think you got to make a switch. LSU's offense is beyond abysmal, but we know that. And that's why I picked A&M to win this game. I can't pick a team that can't score, so I picked A&M to win. I didn't think they were going to win by 30. But dang, man, they put up a 50-burger. And I'm going to tell you this right now. LSU's defense is good. I'm not going to be one of these people saying, oh, well, LSU's defense sucks. No, they're good, really good. This is more of a testimony of how great the A&M offense is. It's hard to stop Marcel Reed. It is hard to stop him. This is including myself. Everyone out there says, and I say, oh, well, you got to make Marcel Reed pass. Here's the problem. Most people don't even get to that point. He's an unreal scrambler, unreal athlete, A&M. I still got him in that really good category, but they keep this up, they're going to get elevated to great. As far as it goes for LSU, have fun in the Peanut Butter Jelly Bowl, and I believe that's it. Auburn did get, I'm not even going to talk about this longer than 30 seconds, but Auburn got their first SEC win over Arkansas, but it was one of those games where somebody had to get their first win because neither of them had an SEC win. Jackson Arnold did get benched in that one, so what's going to happen next at the quarterback position? Don't really know. That's going to wrap up the Week 9 recap. Hope you boys and girls enjoyed. I'll see you guys later today. I'll probably be calling out with my top 12 rankings, being on the lookout for that, but